Well, good day, everyone. Welcome to this wonderful new episode of Joey's Nostalgia Experience. It's great to for you mates watching and listening. I'm glad for y'all to join us, and I am definitely I am so definitely Joey. I'm definitely Joey Wiggle that talking right now. No, no.
Oh,
To,
Jake, you are such a thrill.
All
You're
right.
such a thrill, man.
Yeah,
Honestly, love it. Well, it's great to have you all back for another wonderful episode of Joey's Nostalgia Experience. And what an episode we have for you today, because for, I think, the first time ever, and I think a lot of people were not expecting this, but it's happened anyway, we are seeing the collab of all collabs. It's Joey's Nostalgia Show and Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show together for the very first time. Please welcome the host himself, Jake Deffinbaugh, and co-host Chris Bixby back to the show. G'day, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yes. Thank you for having us back on from just from when we got to do a separate interviews. And it was great that we got to do that. And good to meet you, Moses. And thank you both. Yeah, of course. And I'm glad for that we got to do this. And thanks again for having us on and talking about more with the show and the anniversary. And it's gonna be a lot of fun.
And yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the main reason we wanted to definitely make this happen, because more recently, a month ago, you guys celebrated your show's 5th anniversary. So for the last 5 years and over 350 episodes, you guys have been making some of the best, preservations of talent that I've possibly ever seen from the world of nostalgia. I mean, particularly for those who've worked on the shows of like Sesame Street, The Muppets, Disney, all kinds of media, particularly for family and children's entertainment. You guys have been leading the charge for the last 5 years, and it's been just an incredible journey to see how far you guys came from, literally from speaking with the guy who played Tinky Winky to Maria from Sesame Street. It's just kind of the progression from that point to where you are now. It's just absolutely incredible. And you guys have had such wonderful guests in your show. I mean, some of them are let's be real, are not easy to get. So for you guys, it must have been quite a journey to get those kind of guests on the show too.
Yeah, for sure. It's to just say that way. I mean, it takes blood, sweat, and tears to get certain people on that. You have to take a lot of, have to go with certain agents, you go with certain publicists, or to get in touch with a certain person that you had on to see if they're still in contact with that certain person. So it's a lot to take to even get some of guests on that. It's hard to get. So as us being involved in the industry, like you both, it's how hard, how extruding, hard it can
100%.
be. So
yeah, and absolutely. I mean, I think that was part of the reason why. I mean, I've already said this a lot of times before. I'm just going to say it again, but one of the main reasons that I got into podcasting as well, for a few reasons. One, I loved watching Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show for years. I couldn't believe that they were reaching out to people that I didn't think could even be reached out to. They would have just been really hard to connect with. But at the same time, there was something I saw in that, because for me personally, I spent the last 5 years just basically uploading rare albums that I just never found on Spotify, and they're very rare in some ways. But then at the same time, I was thinking about what comments I was getting on my channel, which most of them were there was some comment that said, "This reminds me of my dad when I was growing up in the early 80s. He's no longer with us. I just listened to this and it makes me think of him." And I'm thinking, there's something so special about that no kind of monetization could ever like pay for. And I'm thinking, if the people want to hear these kind of stories and remember what like how simple life was before all of social media, I think the best way to do it is to do a podcast and to talk about it. And that's kind of how I got inspired to really start my podcast. It was really at the start of 2025. I was thinking about it for some time, didn't know what it was going to be like or how it was going to go. And yeah, originally it was called the Joey Wiggle Experience, but then over time we kind of drifted away from like the Wiggle talk, and it really started to expand to like just children's entertainment and family entertainment as a whole. So yeah, and I personally, I didn't think it was going to last until past the end of the year last year, and yeah, here we are nearly a year later. And
Yeah.
Happy for you. And it's great that there are people like you, they want to start a podcast because of what we do. We appreciate that, that there are people out there you appreciate what we do, that people that it's that
oh my god, oh my god,
you want to do it because of how we do. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no worries. I was just going to say, did I somewhat cut off for a second?
Yeah, I think you did like a couple times earlier. Yeah.
Oh no, that's all right. I think it was a bit of an internet lag there. Yeah, but honestly, even if it's not in the professional way that it's usually done, like so most people would do a podcast on camera in the same room, which can work if you're not like a fan of all the lagging stuff. But I just find most people would rather prefer doing stuff where they are. Like it's like they don't have to travel far, they don't have to do any of that stuff. I find this to be a much better way. I mean, this is why I personally think podcasting is becoming the new norm in society, and it's really replaced for some reason. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it's in some ways replacing the format of talk shows. Like no one wants to hear like a 10-minute chat. They want to hear like a 3-minute conversation.
That's true. And maybe it's the reason
a 3 hours, sorry. No.
It's like, I mean, here in the U.S., I mean, that could be why more and more late night talk shows are disappearing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but
I mean, we've sort of had sort of a similar thing in Australia too. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of talk shows are kind of converting to like podcasting now because they just know people will have that as a format, so they can come back and watch it anytime they like.
Right. It's not like, because like with a late night talk show, you like, I mean, unless you like record it or something, like if you miss it, you miss it, right? Podcasts you can just go back and listen to anytime.
Pretty much, yeah. I think that was who said that? Yeah, Bruce said that. Bruce Thorburn literally said that on the show. Like, it's something you can come back to anytime you want, and it's still there. Like that's why there's a lot of shows. That's why podcasting is just it's really taken over late night talk shows really, or just talk shows or interviews as a whole. Like I don't know about. I mean, who wants to sit down and watch 60 minutes when you can have an extended version, unfiltered and uncensored and unedited? I mean, that's really what the shows that's why we love doing what we do, because we want to hear their stories without having to cut out certain details unless they ask us to.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I mean, anyway, oh man, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, so 5 years, it's such an incredible milestone. I mean, did either of you even, I mean, when the first show, I was going to say, when the show first started, did you think it was going to last this long?
For me, no. I mean, honestly, no, because like I at first I thought like, and this isn't to like put any guest under another, but initially I felt like it would just be a podcast where we'd interview like some cool people nonetheless, but kind of like more smaller guests. But I mean, specifically in 2022 and 2023 alone, I mean, we just kind of skyrocketed with the kind of caliber of guests that we interviewed. I mean, a lot of the big names at Sesame Street, and when the strike ended, we interviewed a bunch of like the main performers out there, and then of course we by that point had done interviews with 2 of the Wiggles. We did Philip Wiltshire, and then of course Murray Cook, which
Yes.
just
And it was Greg. Yeah.
I always say this to anyone who compliments us on our interview with Murray or with Greg or Philip. It's like just a huge honor to get to talk to the original Wiggles, or at least some of them.
Yeah.
I love how you considered, and I love how we're all kind of coming together to consider Philip Wiltshire an original. We personally believe that on our show as well. And whether people, I mean, if whether anyone questions our chats with him, because I know there's always, I mean, controversial opinion. There's always some of those individuals who question the credibility of some, like, I don't know how many times you would have had to put up with it, but just like you always get some people who come out and question the credibility of the guests you have on the show. And I would always stand by, like I don't know about you guys, but I completely stand by to this day our chat with Philip Wiltshire. And it's very insightful. And I'm sure, like, if anyone wants to learn the full story, you should definitely check out both the chats on Jake's show and our show as well. In fact, literally, you guys were the first to actually do it. So, I mean, you guys really set the standard of, what it means to literally do podcasting. This is what I was talking about. Like, you guys were, I think, the first people to actually properly interview Philip in podcast form.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just crazy that happened because as you kind of already said, is before we did our interview with him, there are not a lot of videos of him like talking about his experience with his time with the first year.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there was like an online interview somewhere from like many years ago of someone like interviewing Philip. But aside from that, you're right. I mean, he didn't do a whole lot of interviews, and certainly not, like you said, in the form that we do it with podcasts. So us getting to kind of be that first platform for him, I mean, again, I can't say it enough, just a huge honor.
Yeah, of course. I mean, since we've been already talking about Philip already, I mean, I will say, I mean, his contributions for what he did for the debut album will never be forgotten. I mean, for what he did for the first year of the group, it won't be missed. So I know there were definitely Wiggles fans, that was still talked about Philip for what he did to arrange certain songs, what he did for a debut album, and kind of help out with Anthony with certain cues with the music and all that. So not just because you're kind of starting out from just not just being a piano player, but just he's had a lot more involvement with the debut album than some people think that he really did. Yeah. So so I'm glad that you kind of opened up to do that for Philip. Philip's a great mate, and I'm glad that we had him on, and they kind of want to have his nutshells out to finally talk about his experience a bit more with the group of us at that time. So happy about that.
And our producer Darby, because my chat with Philip was with Darby, who actually met Philip in person in Sydney in like the suburb of, and they actually went to the set where they went to the place where they filmed Mrs. Bingle's score for the Wiggles movie. I've been there a few times. It's kind of awesome, although it is quite smaller than I imagined. From I think an adult perspective, it's a lot smaller than I imagined, but at the same time, it's it was really, I loved my chat with Philip. I still stand by that 100%. I still think it was one of the most insightful chats that I think I've ever done. It was like, and also, and I'm only saying this because more recently, there's like for some reason, there's something that you do, and then for some reason it takes off later. Like it's not like it's sort of one of those culty videos, cult-like fan I'm following later on. I was trying to find the words. I don't want to say a cult, but it's sort of like a following afterwards where you get more attention because of the algorithm. And I think it's a good amount of attention, but at the same time, I don't like it when it's like attacking him. Like there was a few people that were kind of like attacking Philip, and I just felt like, please don't. Please, I'm only saying this kindly on the show, but I feel like Philip was being honest. It was his story, and no one can understand it because they didn't live his experience. So that's why Joey Wiggle, am still standing by to this day for everyone to hear my 3-hour chat with Philip Wiltshire, and he is still a wonderful guest. 100%. That's just me. That's just me kind of clarifying a lot of things because I know it's being a little bit of a thing at the moment, but nonetheless, yeah. I mean, that's the thing about yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I was gonna say that, like, you know, I mean, not a lot of people know that he was the one that came up with the dun 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 walking by your hair, and you know, probably for Dorothy, so dun 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 dun, you know, that type of, like, you know, I might be wrong, it's been a little bit, but you know, you know, Archie's theme and Mischief the Monkey and you know, a lot of other songs he did. They arranged most of them for the album, so yeah.
And he was honest too. Like, I don't know if he said this on your show, but he definitely said it on our show. Like, he said that even if none of that stuff played out, he would have left the group eventually. So it's like, I mean, it's not really. It was just because the Wiggles were really starting to mix with more genres. So it wasn't just one genre. Like, I think that's pretty much the story. But I think I still stand by, and I feel for Philip, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. It's the fact that he isn't getting any credit or revenue from his contributions from the first album. Even if all that stuff did happen, I think the one thing that I think it's understandable too, from his perspective, why he still feels in somewhat the way that he does is because he's not getting credited for his contributions, you know. And like you said, like, he came up with the and that's Philip's words, not ours, Philip's. But at the same time, you know, I think he should at least be honored as an original member more, and not just kind of be like shoved to the side, even if it was just for like one album. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the same reason. Like, would you ignore Pete Best for his contributions as the drummer for the early years for the Beatles? Probably not. You know, he was there. You can't ignore the fact that he existed. I know Ringo was the one that we all remember, but it's like, it's all those reasons. Like, an OG's an OG, pretty much at the end of the day.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what Tyler said that you had him previously. You know, I mean, two people that really got the Wiggles initial start is not just Anthony, but Philip too. So there you go. But,
can you imagine if Philip was like, can you imagine if Philip said he was the one who came up with the name the Wiggles? That would have just been next level.
Oh, the biggest plot twist in Wiggly history.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, but I know Anthony and the other, you know, other guys who just kind of thought of the Wiggles because that's how the kids would dance, but because the Beatles like an inspiration to have start the name as the and then Wiggles because of how kids just wiggle instead of dancing. So, but yeah, to the answer to that other question, I never thought the show would be took off and still doing after 5 years, because I know originally it was supposed to be kind of like a COVID project. We just kind of just see how it goes. But we love what we're doing there. We just thought, you know, let's just keep this going. There's a lot more there's a lot more stories to tell, you know, and you know, more episodes coming away. So there's gonna be a lot more stories to tell, and you know, happy that how the show is going. So
yeah, we're always putting out episodes, mostly once a week, sometimes twice a week, 5 p.m. usually, and yeah, like Jake said, just a whole bunch of really fun conversations coming your way. So definitely stay tuned for everyone watching. Stay tuned for those.
Yeah, and I'm highly encouraging you guys to watch Jake's show too, because they've interviewed so many great people. Those who worked on Sesame Street, on shows that were in PBS that which I will be honest, not aware of because I'm not from America, but they know their stuff. So yeah, go and definitely check it out. And even a few guests. I mean, there's always some guests that they are obviously dream guests to have on the show, and sometimes it can be really, really hard to get in contact with them. I mean, one of the guests I had mentioned to Chris when he was on, which I know he would be difficult because of the way that they view the industry in some ways, would be Frank Oz, who worked with the Muppets. He would be,
Oh my
if you
gosh.
think about it, he would be the ultimate kind of entertainer slash puppeteer slash voice actor performer to ever be on Jake's show because of the contributions he's made in children's entertainment, in puppeteering, and like just Sesame Street, Muppets, Disney, like Star Wars, all that stuff. But at the same time, I understand it's kind of like he's more critical of who he speaks with, so I can understand him like not getting back as well.
He's just more of a private guy in this.
Yeah.
I'm sure Frank is, you know, a down to earth guy. I think what it is with Frank is he was like one of the first people to ever work with Jim. You know, with his project.
He knew Jim better than anyone. Like they were like the
Exactly.
closest. He was the closest with Jim than anyone, and Jim trusted him more than anyone.
And because of that, I mean, they were paired together on set, like Bert and Ernie, Kermit and Piggy, Kermit and Fozzie. And I think because of that, because of, you know, him kind of originating those characters and how close he was with Jim, he is very protective of those characters. So he wants to make sure that whoever he speaks with really takes those characters and takes the craft of puppetry seriously. Not that we don't, but I mean, like Tough Pigs, which is a very popular Muppet fan site and blog. They've had
Joe Hannes.
They interview Frank Oz, but they're literally Muppet experts. Like they know just everything, all the ins and outs of, you know, the Muppet world. And so Frank probably saw that, like had that in mind and thought, okay, well, you know what, these guys, you know, they're good news, so I'll speak to them. So I think that's what it is with Frank. But we would, of course, love to talk to Frank Oz and other Muppet performers too, like Dave Goelz. I mean, he would be a dream, just as
Karen Prell,
just as much a dream come true. Karen Prell was Red Fraggle. That just, again, you know, all these people who worked so closely with Jim for many years, they would definitely be a huge blessing to speak to them for sure.
Yeah, but you still have great, like, there's other great performers that you get on the show that you both said were really hard to get, like Kevin Clash, the original Elmo, and like Stephen Whitmire, who replaced Kermit after Jim's death. It's like just those kind of performers. There's so much like and I love something. There was something that Steve Whitmire said it was after he was fired from Kermit, and there was something he said on, I think it was the Today Show, but it still sticks with me, and I think it's so important for everyone to hear. It's like the moment you break down these kind of roles to be, quote, auditioned for, it really, because it was never about that. It was never about the characters being auditioned for. It's because they represent that person. Like Kermit is a representation. Kermit's literally just Jim Henson, if you think about it. Like in a lot of ways, like that's just Jim's alter ego. Like, because that's how Jim spoke. That was his mannerisms. It's all in that one puppet that he protected so much in his, like, for the 35 years that he did the Muppets. So it's like those kind of there's so much protection behind these roles and characters that it's like it's understandable that they shouldn't just be something to be auditioned for.
Right. Yeah, and I mean both of those puppeteers that you mentioned, Kevin Clash and Steve Whitmire.
Getting to have them on was just honor. I mean,
it was.
I mean, getting to meet both of them prior at GalaxyCon, you know, so I told them about the show and all that. And, you know, they're really cool guys, and you know,
I was gonna say
to do it.
I was gonna say both of them, Steve especially. I mean, we had kind of made connections with Steve a little bit prior because Jake and I were usually like in the live chat a lot for the show he used to do called Cave In. And then when Jake met him and Kevin at GalaxyCon Richmond, that's kind of how we made the official connection with Steve. And then when I finally built up the nerve to email him with the email on his website, that's how we got him. And then Kevin, it definitely took a lot of doing because obviously he's in recent years he's been a very
understandable
private guy. But I worked it out. Some like higher up at Henson, I spoke to them, worked things out, and we, finally got him. But
yeah. And what you've described is kind of the hard work that goes into podcasting. It's something that, me and Moses have done ourselves, and it's not easy because you have to literally go and reach out one contact to another and then to another. And that's why a lot of shows don't really last that long, because it's just, it gets too hard. But it's only those who love what they do. That's why they still keep going. Like, you guys have been doing what you've been doing for 5 years now. I've been doing it for nearly a year, and we've got something in common. We love preserving history. We love preserving pop culture and their stories of entertainment in the things that we grew up with. Because no one talks about it until they listen to it, and it's like, I remember that. I remember that, and it's so interesting to hear it from them and to hear them do this and that. There's something so special about it. That's why I love nostalgia so much.
Yeah, I think about probably a good segue for me to talk about this, since you kind of already talk about that if we love doing what we're doing, that's what matters, right? But I can give some, if people who are watching, listening, or like who want to get into podcasting, want to give some advices from us that have been doing it for 5 years. So, think about this way. Okay, so just probably, even I know some of you are Australian viewers, but I know there are also American viewers too that definitely grew up watching a certain PBS show that reason why PBS still going, kids still going, honestly, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So Mr. Rogers gave such like a good quote, a couple of amazing quotes when he was interviewing with Charlie Rose, that it sticks out, that it's so relevant, that I think that's why what we're doing is still going. So so I'll say firstly, so what he says is, so Charlie asks him, how many people are out there that make me, what kids are doing or something that may feel, something actually, what was that? Okay, right. Okay, so how many kids are out there that make you feel something special because of who you are and all? And he says, I don't care how many, even if it's just one. We get so wrapped up in numbers in our society. If we convince to the moment with the person that we happen to be with at the moment, that's what's important. That quote right there is a good example that, look, even look, we've seen like how podcasts grow and all that. I mean, like we have over a couple thousand, 2,000 subscribers in our channel now. We have like over 1 million views of the channel as a whole, right? But I'm not really a person that look into numbers or milestones or get so excited about it. They're like, oh my gosh, you would get that certain number, would be this good, but at the end of the day, I don't focus on that. I'm just more focused that if people actually generally love what we're doing, and the guest loves what the guest, just respects and loves what we're doing, why we have that certain guest on the first place, I think we've done our job, and that's just what matters.
Oh yeah, and kind of continuing on the topic of Fred Rogers a little bit, something that Fred Rogers was very instrumental in, that I feel he doesn't really get a lot of credit for, was how instrumental he was in saving public television and saving the corporation for public broadcasting, because in
yeah, bless him, man.
1969 our president at the time wanted to cut the funding for CPB from like down to like 10 million or something, like a whole 10 million down to what it was before. But then Fred Rogers made just such a heartfelt plea, and just the funding was restored and everything was saved. And it's
Yeah.
because of that, really, that we have had just hundreds and hundreds of just amazing shows that low income families could watch, because that's what PBS was. It was it was a channel that everybody in the States had. And that was the point of Sesame Street too, something that the kids could really enjoy, and they don't have to
And learn.
have all these premium channels or anything. They don't have to pay. Like, it's free. You can watch it and have a good laugh from watching, these puppets and these humans, whether it be adults or kids, interact. And so yeah, I think
and it was public
really
funded too. That's what's so important about it. It's public funded, so that therefore it's not owned by any organization, so they can put commercials and ads and all that kind of crap on TV. It's public funded, so it's kind of the similar thing with because we have like the ABC in Australia. That's like government funded. That it's less people funded but more government funded, so that's why there's no like commercials on that as well. And I think the moment you get an organization involved to help like fund the show, but then in return you got to do this for them, it's like it really kind of takes away the value of like, you're not really doing it for us, you're doing it for them. And that's why I love the idea of the corporation of public broadcasting, is that it's not owned by any organization above. It's just a public funded organization that focuses on making programs for low income families. Like you mentioned, like that's why Sesame Street really begun in the first place, is because of the fact that, a lot of people were, children, in the 60s, television was just the biggest thing at the time. It was like, we're all on our phones now, but it's like back then it was like everyone was watching TV because it was so mainstream and new, and more and more families were watching. How do I say it? What do kids watch more than anything? Commercials. Commercials, which is literally Sesame Street. It's just entertainment. It's commercials, but with educational value.
Right. Yeah, and all those shows, all these PBS shows, it wouldn't be what it is at all if it wasn't for Mr. Rogers. Because bless that man for not just what he did for Joe's House, but just him as a person, just from how hard how such a heartfelt person he is, that there is more to the world for children's television. That from Senator Pastor, it was like, all right, for Rogers, take the floor. You just can't. It feels like he was forced to hear Mr. Rogers speak. But then when the Pastor was hearing Mr. Rogers like literally like talking to him like in such like calming manner, and such like and how much hearted he is, how Mr. Watch neighborhood like is like such a big deal to him. Like, I remember like even from he was talking for a few minutes, he was asking Pastore, like, he was asking a question to him that he told him that he was like he started asking questions. So that, do you narrate it? And then Mr. Rogers went, I'm a host, yes, and I do all the puppets, and I write all the music, and I write all the script. And then he said, I'm supposed to be a really tough guy, and it's the first time I've had goosebumps in the last 2 days. And then he said, and then he asked him, Mr. Rogers asked him, can I tell you one of the songs that I feel it's very important, which is the what do you do that manage you feel that song. He was asking him that question to kind of explain that song to him, and then Pastore, he changed his mood to when that now he made Pastore like that there's something in there what Mr. Rogers is saying to him, that there's something in there by such for him just talking to him, and such for how much his program means to him. That, and then after he's talking, and then after he said the girl can be someday a lady and the boy can be someday a man, and then he passed away. Just went, I think it's just wonderful. I think you just turned to $20 million, and then there you go. I mean, like, gosh, but yeah, I mean, go back with the guests as well. I mean, the way we talk to guests, we talk to guests, such respectful and casual manner. I mean, obviously there are times that we would be like excited to talk to them beforehand, but when we're actually doing it, it's very different. But instead of be like, oh my gosh, like, hi Greg, it's good to see you. Even I remember Tyler. I remember Tyler was like, all right guys, all right, before we get Greg on, let's take a brief. I remember that. I remember that moment happened. And Tyler,
same with Murray as well, really.
Yeah,
I can honestly imagine
more co-hosts on. I mean,
I can imagine just like before it's starting. It's like, okay, guys, we have about 30 seconds before we start. So if you have anything in you that you want to let out, just let it out.
Right. Yeah.
Like, let it all out now,
And that's what made you do like taping with Greg kind of, I guess, in a way, a little less overstimulating, if that makes sense. Because by that point, it was just Jake and myself doing the interviews now, and it was just, so Jake and myself, and then having Tyler on, and it was just so great.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Tyler's a great. Yeah, I was going to say Tyler's someone
Tyler's
you
cool.
always want to have on board when you're interviewing a Wiggle, because then you're in the safe zone. It's like, okay, he's here, we'll be safe. It's kind of the same reason why I had when I had Joseph Marshall on, when I interviewed Patricia Edgar, who is she started like the Australian Children's Television Foundation. She created like some of the there's so Aussie shows like Round the Twist, like that. I don't know if you've ever watched that, but it's like one of the wackiest shows that we've ever produced. And for some reason, it would not work today if it went back on TV. So I highly recommend watching that. But at the same time, it's one of those things where she's nearly 90, and like the only way to convince her to be on the show was by letting her know that I had Joseph Marshall on as well, because Joseph Marshall knows her personally, because he runs Silver Records, which is like preserving Australian children's entertainment. By the way, he's the one helping with the restoration of Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Like, he's one of the main people helping.
Yeah, he uploaded like master quality episodes of Shining Temptation, which was one of the Thomas spin-off shows.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, but also involves Thomas in like a bigger shape or form for American audiences as well. I think.
Yeah, that's
when Thomas got
introduced to Thomas. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people out there. There's always some people that work hard on YouTube, and then there's others who work exceptionally hard. Joseph works so hard, and that's why he runs it as a business now. It's like he's probably one of the hardest working YouTubers out there in terms of archiving. And preserving. He is definitely by far the hardest working, as far as I'm concerned, because he really goes out of his way to make it his life and meet all these people and make sure that they're in the highest quality they could possibly be before uploading as well. And really releasing, remastering, because he has it's all part of like a music label as well. So it's pretty exciting stuff that he does.
Yeah, for sure. But to kind of briefly go back to what I was saying,
about Mr. Rogers, sorry. I was going to say, what I was going to say beforehand? I think just your way of describing him and him defending and protecting the public the public corporation system, I mean, the Corporation of Public Broadcasting, public funding, like, it just sounds to me like, and also how nice he was. Like, I've seen clips of him and how he's got this very warm, nice personality. It's almost like he's like one of the nicest human beings you could possibly imagine.
I mean that's how he is, like, in and out of his show. That's how he is in real life. He went on his show, he doesn't act. He's not acting anything. That's how he is as he is. Just because where if he's going out somewhere, or he's still the same Mr. Rogers that you see him on screen. But
the equivalent we have is, without a doubt, I would say the equivalent of Mr. Rogers in Australia would without a doubt be like Steve Irwin or something. I think Steve is the ultimate, because he is one of the best ambassadors we've ever had overseas, and he's just he was like one of the nicest human beings you could possibly imagine in from my perspective growing up, because I loved watching his show. I watched Collision Course growing up. I love that. I love Wiggly Safari. That was all, Crocs rule. And yeah, honestly, it's I still can't believe it's been, like, I'm in my late 20s. I still remember the day when we lost him. It was one of the craziest and saddest days that it was literally like, I'm not joking. It was like Princess Diana level sad. It was like, we could not believe it actually happened. And it's, 20 years on, and like, he's still made such an impact on conservation and wildlife. Like, dude, I ended up growing up loving wildlife because of that man. Like, I love animals, and hence why I've got a lion as a persona.
Oh yeah, in the U.S. Well, I know it originated in Australia, but in the U.S. on this channel we used to have called Discovery Kids, we had a Bindi the Jungle Girl.
Animal Planet,
yeah. Well, that's how he became popular too. It was through Animal Planet, and then he started getting a lot of attention. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember watching him in some other shows, but I forgot which was. But I mean, I'm way did for animal culture, and especially in the 90s, 2000s.
It was it's the coolest stuff too. By the way, it's the coolest thing you'll ever see in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I go back with the guests. So what we're saying is, as long as we talk to guests in such a relaxing, casual manner, than just being fanboys right in front of them. Like, let's do it before. Okay, we can do it before the interview, but during the interview, you can't just the guest is a person just like you and me, and let's just have a conversation. I mean, the very first interview that we've done, that we kind of made the chat episodes being like more like, let's have this more conversation than just asking just certain questions. It's definitely the Brusos. I remember. From that point, that was when we started to be more into like conversations than just asking questions that we have, But and Stephanie, she's awesome too. But yeah, I think it'd probably be a good time to talk about how it all really started.
Yeah, actually, I feel like this is something we should have done at the start. Definitely want to hear, now that you're both on, how it was how it started and how you got in contact with Chris and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, how it kind of started for you. Guys.
Yeah. So I'll start and I'll let Chris take with the rest. But yeah. So, how it all started really. I mean, so I'll start this way. So how I first know Chris. So I'll try and go like a long story short, compare how long it was with my appearance, my separate appearance 6 months ago, but 7 months ago. But yeah, so I was having Warbox because I was involved with the Ninja War Warbox community. So I was involved with different communities than so I was like involved with different things. And then the summer of 2018, I saw like Roblox game called Roblox and Wiggles Big Show, and that's how I discovered Chris and Tyler, and that's when I was like, oh my gosh, you can do something where you love growing up on an online game. That is nuts. So I remember I was just mesmerized by it. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna get back, no matter what people say. I mean, I'm gonna get back to these things, and then a few months later, around there, that's how me and Chris started talking, and became so we know each other for next few years would be like 10 years of us knowing each other, which is nuts itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Wiggles kind of initially got me back to from why I love growing up with all these different all these different things I love growing up, and glad that they got me back to all the things I love growing up now. So we just see all this stuff. But so pretty much is what happened is so that's how I got into back with the children's media stuff, but with the podcast stuff. So I used to be a fan of Carrie Stinson's podcast. Well, first it was Purple Tales and then Purple Rose. So that's how I got inspired from Carrie. That I was like, it'd be cool to do a podcast. But originally, before Jake's Time Nostalgia was a thing, I originally did a boring podcast that only lasted for one episode with Matthew, with former co-host, called Happy Dolomites Podcast, and we did a guest with one of the Playing people, like Rye, for example, Tia Fredrickson, and then we did an episode of it, and I was like, I don't want to be a podcast where we focus on one franchise. If I want to have a lot of people on, I want to be expanded. So I was like, you know what? I'll just make a podcast that talks about different aspects of nostalgia from all these different franchises and different fields and all that stuff. That's obviously that's how a show is.
Yeah.
And then what I remembered since I'll say it this way, that me and Chris did a last podcast interview that we talked a little bit of that, which will be up soon, but I'll say it here anyway. But that because I remember from while I was thinking of it at that when we did that chat, I remember that so initially it was me and Matthew kind of have that idea to start the thought about doing the show, and I thought of Happy Nostalgia Show because nostalgia gives you joy and happiness. That, oh my gosh, how life simple is back then. That's we reminiscing and to talk about love growing up and keep talking about it because it's nostalgia, and that's how why we even started our shows in the first place. So I don't need to talk more about it because so then Matthew, I was thinking Matthew was messaging. So I think at that time I was having a soccer practice or whatever I was doing. I was still at school, so I was still doing like soccer for high school and stuff at that time. And I remember Matthew might have message Chris about it. And then, Chris, you can take over from that.
Yeah, so it was 5 years ago now, but from what I remember, Matthew messaged me and said that, it was in a call actually, I think, and Matthew had talked about like this podcast that him and Jake are working on, and because I was on another podcast for several years, and I took that experience, and I was like,
for the DJ Bob show. So you kind of already know how podcast is and all that.
Yeah, and so when I did that, I kind of took that experience and thought, well, I did a podcast. I still work on it, but I haven't actually been the one like helping to interview people in a while. So I kind of thought, oh well, I don't know if they're planning on doing interviews because some podcasts are just the host talking. But I thought, maybe they could use an extra hand. So I'd signed on, and I had asked if they wanted me to help, and they were like, "We'll see." But then it was a yes. And at first, it was kind of just like, I think at first it was like I'd be like a behind the scenes person, like help edit or something.
I think what happened. I think maybe I was going to. I was going to. I don't know. I think Matthew. I think I might have was going to ask you about it, but then for some reason I didn't because I might have forgot it because of soccer and stuff. So Matthew was kind of helping out with messaging you about it.
Yeah, and so then And so then from there, Jake, we're trying to figure out a name. Jake came up with the name, and then I kind of came up with the format, kind of like just interviewing professionals instead of it just being a show where the hosts talk.
Yeah. So and the rest is history. So there you go.
And from there, we had kind of thought about, okay, so we want to interview people, but who? And so we all had kind of like our first people that we reached out to. The first people I reached out to, their team said that they declined due to their busy schedules. But the first people I reached out to were the Krat brothers, who are on Zaboomafoo and Krat's Creatures and Wild Kratts. But the first person that we ended up getting as our first episode was someone that Jake had already been connected with a little bit. A puppeteer named Beelan Oil, who did and still does a bunch of things for the Jim Henson Company and the Muppets. So ended up being our first guest, and we've had them on a second time.
Yeah, love B. They're the best.
And yeah, like Jake said, the rest is history, and definitely was not the only Muppet performer we've had, as you can see by our list there.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it is a big list now. I'll tell you that. What a journey. But I'm interested, like even back then, like when the show was starting off, and you guys were kind of getting the idea of how podcasting how it worked, and how to network. Did you guys expect it? Like, when did you realize, oh, this is a little bit difficult, but we love what we're doing. We're going to see how long this goes for. Like, at what point did you realize there's something to this? Like, let's see who else we can reach out to.
I just feel like we kind of thought about, like, I just feel like when we started to do more and more and more interviews gradually and started to get more people, I'm sure that we started to talk about, this is more than we thought that it was going to be, but I'm just I'm happy that how far we come, and and also kind of add to before podcast, or sorry, me and Chris already kind of have the same little things about the same stories that we grew up with, and same certain shows, and all these different channels that we grew up to, that so me and Chris kind of have a little bit of nostalgia bond that we already have, and then it goes. So
there were two specific interviews I'm thinking of that really kind of put the thought in my mind that this could go somewhere. Like, this could be bigger than we had imagined. The first instance of that was when we interviewed someone who was on the host of a game show on Nickelodeon that ran here in the States for many years, called Brain Surge.
Yeah,
we interviewed the host of that, named Jeff Sutphin, who had done things with Nickelodeon before. But it was interviewing him, and then a couple episodes after that, interviewing Wendy Callio, who played Nina on the Imagination Movers series.
Yeah.
It was interviewing those two kind of gave me the idea, like, wow, we're getting, the host of a very successful game show, or children's game show, and one of the stars of one of the most successful Disney Junior shows back in the day.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, well, we'll see where this goes. I think we're really getting to slowly starting to get some of the bigger names. And then from there, goodness, it was only a couple episodes after that that we got, like, the voice of Max Goof in a Goofy movie, which was
Jason Marsden.
Jason Marsden?
Marsden, yeah.
Wait, I had no idea you guys spoke to him. See, there's so many episodes, I lose track. I completely didn't know that you spoke to him.
Yeah, that was very early on in our podcast. That was probably like episode 20 or 21 or something. Like, it was very, very early in the podcast run. And
that was the very first appearance for Matt Bingle as a co-host then.
Yes, he was on a bunch of our interviews for a number of, well, for I'd say almost every interview up until maybe about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I will say this, before we forget, but yes, the show is now, me and Chris, now, but I mean, for what Matt's, contributions for what he did, for all the involvement in interviews that and the behind the scenes that he did throughout, his one show for a couple of years, would never be forgotten. I mean, I'm still in good touch with him, with Matt, so there's no blood there, And now for what he learned from his time on our show, now he wants to do it with his podcast, Big Ol' Smorgasbord. So happy for him. So happy for him for what he's doing now from what he for on his own way now. So I'm happy for him. Anyway, continue.
And
Chris.
So I was just going to say also, in terms of like the moment where we felt we had really made it as far as interviewing kind of like the quote unquote household names in any field, was I think this is probably about like 40 or so episodes in that we got to speak to one of the main, well, I guess kind of two, because they were around the same time. Stephanie DeBruzzo, which we had mentioned a little bit ago, and then of course Martin P. Robinson.
She was in Avenue Q, wasn't she?
She was.
Yeah.
She was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've interviewed quite a few people who had involvement in Avenue Q in the original run.
Yeah.
Love the musical. I've seen it. Love it.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Yeah,
John
Jen
Barnhart,
Barnhart,
Jennifer
John
Barnhart,
Tucker,
Rick Lyon.
Rick Lyon. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing. You kind of already touched base on this. But out of all the guests that you have, interviewed over the years, was there ever a moment during your podcast that you had what was called one of those? How do I put it? Like one of the most emotional, interview moments, so to speak. Where
like our favorite.
Yeah,
I think what Moses means,
like something that stood out to you and kind of hit you like
in the feels. When we spoke about when we spoke with Robin Moore, like just her, how she's handling like what she does for people, especially young vulnerable people today, in terms of bringing the voice of Blinky out. It's like one of those things where it really gets you. It's like. Yeah, were there any kind of guests that kind of, how do I say, got you in the feels? Like, did it really brought out any emotion that you didn't expect to feel before?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I already know my answer.
Me too. You want to start, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I know we already. I know I already touched base on that with my last appearance, but no one can. But for me, it can never top than our interview with Greg. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Understandable. Yeah. The most nostalgic voice of all the nostalgics.
Yeah, because not just because of what Riggles did for just got me back to all the stuff, but Greg was the reason why I got more to singing. But I was into chorus, during from elementary to like high school and stuff. But Greg is the one that got me more comfortable, being more confident to just learn as a singer myself, and to kind of taught singing,
Me too.
No one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah, I remember you told me about that too. But no one can, like, no one. I know he can. I know he said himself that I'm not really. I don't know if I'm really a good singer, but I'm like, Greg, are you punkers? You are. No one has that smoothness, soothing voice that no one has that such a lovely voice than Greg. Like, come on.
No one can sing like Greg.
Sure.
Like, seriously.
I agree.
And with me and Jake now have been involved in several Wiggles tribute groups on Roblox, I'd say Greg, and not just for us, but for a lot of people, really kind of inspired us
Yeah.
to kind of develop our voice, even if we don't want to pursue singing professionally or anything, but in a sense, so that we can really kind of hold a note and sing at least somewhat efficiently for these groups. And I
Mm.
lead my own group, and I am a wiggle in several others, and it's
Yeah, yeah, I'm
it's
a
been,
web couple
it's
groups.
been a
So
great run. I've been doing it. Well, this year it's been 13 years, so it's been
yeah,
a good
Yeah.
run. But for me, as far as guests that, well, in terms of guests, or that kind of hit me on like a more emotional level, just kind of hearing like they're not just stories about their career, but just kind of their life in general, especially in recent times. I would say Sid Croft.
Yeah, I was thinking. I watched that, and
yeah.
I'm
Rest his
thinking
soul.
it
Oh my
had.
god,
And
I'm
he
so
and he
happy
lost.
that we did.
Yeah, I even
Such a
said
lovely
to you
man.
guys before. I said to Chris and Jake, like, you guys were just so like, you would have been so fortunate to look back now to actually have the chance to speak with him, because obviously it's one of those. This is literally what I mean when it comes to like how important it is to preserve these stories, because it's like there's going to be a time when, like, 50 years from now, no one's going to remember some of these individuals, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And it's like just hearing their side of this, like just hearing like their experience in the industry after living such a long life. It's so incredible. Like, I remember after watching that, I was saying to like Chris and Jake afterwards, I was like, I've got some ideas for guests, and I just sent them forward. And one of them was Margaret Kerry. This is really unfortunate timing,
Oh my
but
god.
I remember telling Chris, I was saying to the guys, like, you should definitely get Margaret on or anything like that, because
Yeah, we
they're
tried.
still doing conventions. They're still doing conventions, and they're still like very active. And I thought Margaret was like in great health, and I had no idea that she was unwell.
Right.
And it got to the point where you guys actually had her booked and was going to interview her. And
Right.
unfortunately, a week after the booking, her husband passed away, and it just pretty much like, yeah, that was it. And then she passed away not that long ago, like a few weeks after. So, and it got me thinking, man, if it had gone through, if the chat had gone through, it would have potentially been her last ever interview if it had been.
That's true, and same can be said in a way for Britt Allcroft.
Yeah.
That was another one we were supposed to do. And
yeah.
talk
So
about a new book that she was.
yeah, kind of memoir about and I remember like she one time she emailed me back, but without me asking her. I didn't ask her to do it, but she literally did it herself, and I was like, now think about it now, I'm like, wow, she literally did that in such a timing when she did. She literally, I'm sure I'll get the email, but she literally like emailed me her definition of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I'm sure that she must have like looked at some of our interviews and probably saw that question we asked everyone at the end.
Yeah, especially like
kind of thought of
like our interviews with especially like that she got to work with Rick Sigilco, Michael Brandt maybe, but okay, all right. So this is what she says in that quote, and that's July 12th, 2024. So she says, I love the title of your show, by the way. I love the word nostalgia for many reasons. And to put happy before the word itself is, I think, a compliment to the breadth of meaning in the word itself.
Yeah, I mean,
that was Brit.
That was Brit. Yep.
Oh my god!
And I remember we when she passed, we put up a picture of her holding like a Thomas model, and like put a screen cap of that email like on the post to show that this was someone that we were going to speak with, but even though we never got to, she still just delivered just such kind words about our podcast, and that to me
Yeah.
was honestly it just meant so
Come
much.
on.
Yeah, like
Oh.
this is like what I mean too. This is part of the other reason why I got into podcasting is when you get those kind of comments from people who connect with what you're doing and think that you've just helped bring back so many memories for me. And this reminds me of this individual who's no longer with us and all that kind of stuff. It's just, there's something so heartwarming about it. And it's like, it gives you a feeling that is genuine. It feels real. It makes you feel human. It doesn't make you feel like you're just writing stuff down and putting it up and being like, oh, I wonder how many views I'm going to get. How many, money I'm going to get from this. It's like, there's nothing like that has the same sort of feeling as that. You know what I mean? Like if I had received an email like that, I probably would have broken down.
If the guest likes
what
what we're doing, that's what matters,
Oh yeah, and by the time when we interviewed Sid, I mean he was like 96.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some guests who like are irreplaceable. There's no way you can like reach out 10, 20 years later. Like even like I still feel fortunate to speak to individuals like Patricia Edgar, who's she's nearly 90 at the moment, but she helped create, like she set the foundations of what Australian children's television should be. So it's like it's some guests you look back and you're like, I feel really fortunate to have the chance to speak to them, and there's plenty more to come. And I mean, I've been speaking with Moses. There's some Play School presenters we've been trying to get on the show. Play School being like Australian Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers, etc. It's and it's just celebrated its 60th anniversary. It's been on the air for 60 years now, and there's some presenters who on the show during the beginning who we'd love to have on the show, because it's like just hearing how television entertainment was back then, before like cable TV, before social media, before all that. It was just the simple 4-channel system where it was very easy to protect people from like disturbing images, and they can just be focused on this sort of world. And I think there's something so special about it, and so simple and not overstimulating and very calming as well. I mean, you know what? I feel like Play School aligns more with Mr. Rogers more than I think of it, because it was never one of those shows where it kind of forced itself in you, like, look at me, look at me, look at me. It's like, it felt very, very simple and very calm.
Yeah.
But this is from an Australian point of view,
Right. Yeah. And like with Mr. Rogers too, what I always felt about Mr. Rogers that made it so great, it could have just been for my PBS station, but for my PBS station, it was like a wake up show. Like it was the first PBS kids show that was on for the day for me. And so it was a great show to wake up to, before I like go off to school or something, kind of wake up to that, that calming voice of Mr. Rogers, with that red sweater and, all those, puppets and the so peaceful music. Yeah. It was such a great show, and from what I've seen online of Play School too, I definitely agree with you, and I think there's definitely some Mr. Rogers vibes like in Play School. I could definitely see that.
Well, with Play School, it's interesting because it's like, because obviously it's understandable you guys don't understand it because you didn't grow up in Australia. The same reason why we don't understand Mr. Rogers, because we didn't grow up in the States. But with Play School, what makes it stand out? So basically, with Play School, it was originally not an Australian show. It was made in the UK a few years before it got picked up in Australia. And the UK version, it was all the same format, because we kind of like try to emulate the British standard versions and then make it Australian as well, because we're sort of closely aligned when it comes to what we consider children's entertainment. But at the same time, the Australian version seems to stand out more because of the fact that we were able to evolve the times, while the British one didn't really evolve as much, and therefore didn't last as long. So therefore, and Play School's gone through so many different changes and so many different eras. And at the same time, and also some of the presenters have gone on to have really like successful careers. Like some of them are really well trained. Like most of them trained at like NIDA, the National Institute of Dramatic Arts, which is like the highest form of performing arts in Australia. Like it's really hard to get into. Like 2,000 people apply, 20 get in. So like they graduate from that and it looks like what they're doing is easy, but it's like being yourself is one of the hardest things you can do as an actor.
A few of them worked
Which is
with
why
the
they're
Wiggles,
so good to
didn't they?
watch. Sorry?
A few people from Play School have worked with the Wiggles too, haven't they?
Oh yeah,
some.
100%. Yeah, some of them have.
I think
Yeah.
one
Some-
in particular. Oh, sorry. Yeah. One of them in particular was what was his name? He did the Captain Sword character in The Time When He's Wiggles. He's now doing
Oh, wow.
Play. Yeah. So I think that
okay.
was pretty cool.
And then recently, because I've looked at like the song credits of some of the newer songs, Philip Quast, who was on Play
Oh yeah,
School,
Philip Quast.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
he's
a legend.
he's
He's an absolute legend. Yeah, he went on to play Javed in Les Mis. Like he's just like a superstar performer.
yeah, and there were a few good songs in one of the new Ready City Wiggle series, and Philip Quast was credited as a songwriter on a number of them.
Yeah, now some of them are really like they're like they're celebrities, but they're the best. They're almost like the best of the best because of the fact that they can play themselves. I think
Oh yeah,
there's some great actors who get on, and then there's some who can't. Like Russell Crowe tried to get on Play School, he didn't get picked, and it's you know what I mean. Like some people just it's hit and miss. Jeremy Irons tried to get on the Play School show in the UK, he couldn't get in. Don Spencer, one of the guests we've been trying to reach out, is the only presenter to have been on both programs at the same time.
yeah,
so,
he worked with the Wiggles too.
He's done stuff for the. He's done everything. Like he's been around for so long. He's done everything.
I'm looking at the list, like Jay Lagaya, who
Jay Lagaya, his daughter's in his daughter's Moana in the new Moana movie.
Yeah,
and he was in Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
that's
how
like
that's
one of
what
the three
like.
elves in the Go Santa Go video.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, right, okay.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean. Like it's like they're such great performers too, but you don't even know that when you're watching it because you feel like they're just being your parent for the day.
Yeah.
Like that's how good they are. Like it's genuine connection, and I think, and Noni Hazelhurst, one of my personal favorites from Play School, she put it best. It's like, and I'm just going to say it on the podcast. So I apologize for the language, but she said, "quote 3 and 4-year-olds have the best bullshit detectors. They don't watch you on like they know when you're not being genuine to them. If they think you're not really speaking to them." An ant falling at the wall is going to take their attention. Like they'll know. They'll know when you're talking to them.
Yeah,
that kind
they can literally like tell you that if they actually like it or they're actually not. You know, they will.
Exactly.
They'll be kids are full of sponges and they're so full of honest.
Yeah, they're the most honest. Like it's funny looking back and then you realize they're like the most honest audience you're going to ever have in your life. Because they don't know how to have kindness, which is actually good because it means they'll know you're going to get the most honest feedback from them than more than anyone else. So if you can pass that, then you've made it. You know what I mean? So I think if we're getting the attention of the audiences who watches our shows and get it, and more and more people get it, you know what I mean? Then we've made it at the same time.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
we do it because we love it. We love what we do. That's why the shows keep going.
Exactly. We're not doing it for fame. We're not doing it for money. That's not what we do. We do it because we're passionate and we love doing it, and that's just what matters. And we're still doing it after 5 years. So
Pretty much.
But I mean, I know there are a lot of wonderful guests we've got to talk to that. I mean, another big one I know we already mentioned it, but Kevin Clash, especially, and that was a big get. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, talking to Kevin Clash, that was insane.
I don't understand how hard he would be to get to because it's like,
oh my gosh,
and not to get too much into details and stuff, but it's so understandable why.
Probably we can go with one of recent interviews at Terry Fader. That was really awesome.
Yes.
And obviously some people that got to work, on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, like David Newell, Mr. McFeely, and
That was
Francois
special.
Clemens, Officer Clemens, like they're such down to earth guys, and
they really are.
Oh gosh,
those two, like Francois and David, they really were like the characters they portrayed on TV. Like they were just as heartwarming and as calming as their characters were.
Yeah.
That's what we need more of. We need shows like that, and not shows like the first thing that you want to be showing your kids should not be. That's the last thing you want to be putting on your kid's screen.
What was that? I don't think that came.
I think wait, was it? You trying to say Coco Melon or something? Or was
I said that. Did you not?
Oh.
I was like, it was so high. It was so high that my microphone didn't pick it up. I was trying to be like,
that's funny. Okay, yeah.
It's just like
Miss Rachel even.
Why is it still no? That's okay. This is the little rant part of the podcast we're gonna do. Why is that even still around? Like we already know what it's doing, and we know that it's like nicotine for kids.
Oh my gosh!
Where do I even start with her?
Like, just put on Miss Rachel or something.
There's been a
Oh, you can go ahead.
Like I've seen something on the internet. Like I was scrolling on TikTok, and I saw a thing where Miss Rachel pulls out this little figurine of a man. She goes, "Wow, friends, dad," but you can visibly see her tongue. She was about to say something else.
At the top of the mouth, and it just does not look like she was going to say "dada." So.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I've seen this. I have seen this.
Oh my god!
It's one of the greatest things ever. It's like
that was crazy. I remember that. Yep.
Oh man.
Maybe
that was the intention. I don't know.
See now, like I have half siblings, and when my youngest sister was born, it was kind of like. By the time like Cocomelon and Miss Rachel had started, luckily she was of the age where she had kind of grown out of that stuff. Because like when she was a baby, I remember the big thing for her was if you guys are familiar with Ryan Toy's review.
Okay. Okay.
He was a kid that would review kind of like the newest toys that had come out. He would do videos with his parents. He had a TV show on Nickelodeon for some time.
He got a show on Nickelodeon just for opening toys. Like what?
like what?
I don't know.
That was a talent.
They thought he was big enough for Captain Man from Henry Danger to be on an episode. So there you go. I am glad that like that side of like children's media wasn't really around then. That was kind of like the era of like those like those kids like nursery rhyme videos you'd get recommended on YouTube. Like that was kind of in her generation. But nowadays, I mean, I would imagine now if you were to just go on the YouTube Kids app, it would just be full of like Cocomelon,
Miss Rachel, and
I know
I hope a little bit of Jules stuff.
Yeah, I mean Jules is great, and I mean
Bluey's the best that you could possibly make your kids watch.
And I would imagine, of course, like the Wiggles and Sesame Street as well. But I mean, based on how big Cocomelon is, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just mostly just infiltrated with that or Miss Rachel.
I was watching a video I saw a video on Instagram a few days ago, and oh my god, it's so true. It was just a clip from like Little Bear, and the context of it was like, remember when shows were like not overstimulating and how therapeutic and relaxing they were? And you watch the clip,
calming show, Oswald, and oh my gosh.
And you watch the clip and you're like, wow, I feel really calm. Like you're relaxed. It's like, why don't we just have more shows like that?
To music.
Yeah.
And that's another good thing. Jake just mentioned Blue's Clues, and I think another cool thing about children's television, at least, I mean, they still kind of do it now, but it's not as prevalent as it was before, having interactive shows.
Yeah.
You know, we're like
and the calming, like where you can have where the kids can actually have time to think and say the answer to the host instead of so fast paced and
Yeah, like have
know.
shows where the host or characters will talk to the camera, so that way
Yeah.
the viewer can feel like, okay, they like say the Wiggles want me to point my fingers to do the twist, or Elmo wants me to guess what Elmo's thinking about today, or things like that, or help Blue figure out what she wants for snack time. That was great
Yeah,
too, having
exactly.
interactive shows like that, and I think that's something that's kind of starting to be
It's
obsolete now,
started to fade away. Yeah.
and
yeah.
that's
What's
not.
interesting because like Blue's Clues was like I remember that being I mean that was more popular than Barney in Australia, as far as I remember. Like we remember Blue's Clues more than Barney. Like that was
Okay.
around a lot when I was
To be
growing up.
honest, I'd say when Blue's Clues became popular, it was kind of the same way for us too. Because yeah, there were a lot of like, for a time, there were like a lot of competitors in terms of like really big shows. I mean, there were those two shows. Bear in the Big Blue House had
Oh,
had
Beth Go. Oh God, it was so good watching in Australia. We loved
that
it.
show had launched only a year after Blue's Clues did, and that show was just huge. I mean, it was huge in many different countries. They had like so many live shows and different merchandise and videos and CDs and oh my goodness, just
I love that show.
everything.
I
And
mean, Noah McNeil. Come on.
I grew up with
Can't
that
talk
show.
to
I
him.
have the Big Blue House on my shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
So,
one of
I have a
our
Greg
exports.
plush, I have a bear
Yeah.
plush, and blue
Yeah.
plush, all that.
One of our exports has been,
Trust
we
me.
mentioned it before, one of the biggest exports, I think, back then in the day from Australia in children's entertainment was Bananas in Pajamas. It was so big because it was the fact that it was so
Yes.
simple and so easy to
Yeah.
dub over, but also the fact that they were just there was like bananas, there was teddies, there was a rat in the hat. I'm a rat, I'm a
Right.
rat, I'm a clever rat.
Yep.
It's just so simple and so relaxing. And also because it was 5-minute episodes and they did like more than 300 episodes. So it's like you could just watch all of them and not be bored.
So
Yeah.
how I first knew of Bananas in Pajamas was there were two videos that were put out in the 90s, and they were under the title Kids for Character.
Okay.
And
yeah.
and those videos, it was it was kind of like a partnership sort of thing.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember.
Pretty much before the We Are Family 2001 thing they did, but it's pre of that.
It was in partnership with like an institute in their Character Counts Coalition program, and basically what it taught was the 6 pillars of character, and each video in between clips of like these kids, they would have episodes or segments of shows of like famous kids shows that would touch base on the different 6 pillars. So like one of the 6 pillars is respect, and there was a clip
Barney.
and there was a clip in a song with Barney, Baby Bop, and the kids about respect. So trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship, and those are the things they taught. And so in the sequel to that, Bananas in Pajamas was one of the shows on it, and so that's how I kind of discovered Bananas in Pajamas. It was the episode. It's been a long time. I'm trying to remember. It was something about like a bench and like wet paint.
Yeah, that one.
Right,
The wet
right,
paint, the
okay,
wet bench
right.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
that was my introduction to that show.
Even
And
haven't seen that.
I
in a
think
while.
every
That's
episode of
really
it's on
rough.
YouTube now.
Yeah, it's on
I think every
YouTube, and
episode's been-
they're bringing it back on TV in Australia. They've the ABC have commissioned a revival of the show, so and
Yeah.
the live action version too, which is so exciting for all the
That would
nostalgic
be awesome.
reasons. It would be so
gosh.
awesome, and
That would be awesome because I saw that CGI one. I can't remember what it was on, but I saw that
oh
CGI
yeah, no, that
one.
was
It
just
was like
the animated one. Yeah,
it kind of reminded me of when they tried to change the animation of VeggieTales.
Oh my gosh! Oh, that was terrible.
Yeah, they did like 2
Isn't
series.
VeggieTales like? Isn't that
where
Christian?
it looks like it's more
It
like
was, yeah.
have the face, have actual like more look like a baby version. Well, not baby versions,
Yeah.
but more like very modern with animation of the eyes and the mouth and all that. It's
VeggieTales, each video of VeggieTales had a very kind of like biblical message for it. It was a Christian series, but yeah, they did 2 series for Netflix. One was called VeggieTales in the House, and I think one was called VeggieTales in the
Yeah.
City. For both of those, they changed the animation, and it just looked
so
freaking
terrible.
awful.
It's terrible.
But then they did another show. I can't remember what it was on, but then they did one that was just
show.
the VeggieTales show, and then they brought back the classic animation.
Right.
So I think they kind
yeah.
of noticed, maybe this animation doesn't work. Maybe we'll just go back to what fans knew and loved.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's
don't fix what's not broken, you know.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with the original Bananas. And by the way, they were that big. Can I just say they were that big that they were featured in like the closing ceremony celebrations at the Sydney Olympics in 2000? They were that big.
I'd heard about that.
They were part of the celebrations. They were ambassadors of Australia. Like that's how big they were.
Wow.
And still are. Like if you go to any ABC, you're going to see like 2 figurines of B1 and B2 anywhere. Like even in the one in where I am in Queensland, in Brisbane. Like you walk in and then there's B1 and B2. The first thing you see when you walk in to the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, you know? Like they're that big that they're representing our country with the wheels and bluey.
Yeah.
So that's a good streak so far. I mean, I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
I'm especially proud of Bluey. Like honestly, I can't even tell you how immensely proud I feel being Australian, knowing that that's like the biggest show in the world right now, and the movie coming out soon.
Yeah, that's right. I heard that there's a movie coming out. Yeah, Blue's big everywhere. I mean, it's on Disney Plus here, so I mean that's kind of I feel how a lot of people are watching it, and I think it's on Disney Channel over here as well. Yeah.
So have you guys tried to learn the accent while you're at it from the show? Because I know people have been trying to learn.
I can only do the accent if like from like just little certain words from what Wiggles did.
See, the only time I really do it is, for example, like in the Wiggles trivia group, singing a song like Hot Potato. Like, first of all, if you sing mashed banana, it just sounds wrong.
Yeah.
So we still sing mashed banana, because that's just how the Wiggles sing it. Like it would just sound
mashed banana. Yeah, it's it's so, oh my gosh.
Give me that food.
There was one instance where the Wiggles, I think, tried to not master the American accent, but try to incorporate it a little bit just so the US like audiences in the live shows would understand.
Yeah.
Later in the 2000s, they started doing the song Brown Girl in the Ring live. And what I noticed in the Wiggle Dancing Live in the USA video is that when Greg sang it, he's saying, and she looks like a sugar and a plum. So, I kind of figured. Yeah. So when they started to do that song live, I could kind of see, oh, well, the show is in Wallingford, Connecticut, so U.S. audience. I would imagine if Greg's singing it that way, it's probably so that U.S. audiences will understand it more. So I think the Wiggles have tried to do it, but the hilarious thing is because I've seen the Wiggles live many times, and a few of the times even for me as an American, like some of the town names are a little hard for me to pronounce, but hearing the Wiggles try to pronounce them is the most hilarious thing in the world.
What?
Can you name one?
Like there is it was the Rock and Roll Preschool tour, I remember, and it was in a town called the actual pronunciation of the town is Worcester, but the Wiggles kept like struggling to pronounce it. Like it was like Worcester. That's like the most common mispronunciation. And I just remember at like the end of the show, Anthony was like, and we promise next time we come to your city, we will pronounce the name correctly.
Yeah, we'll come back never.
Yeah, right.
Worcester.
Just a code of her, maybe we'll pass
just
this
comes
city
back and
time.
does it again.
Yeah.
The same way before.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
It's-
What was the kind of little um what's the I'm trying to what would you say like what was the white what was the usual way that Greg sings Brown Girl in the Ring, and then how the way he did in the
Oh,
US shows.
so goodness. Okay, so like on the actual recording, like of Brown Girl in
Yeah.
the Ring, he sings, and she looks like a sugar. Like he does it with the Australian accent, but when he did it live, only like in the US, he would, and she looks like a sugar, like of how we pronounce the R's.
Okay, some reason I didn't notice that. Wow.
It was an interesting thing to pick up on, and I didn't when I first saw the video. It was like years later or
Yeah.
something, but I was like, oh, that's
Mm.
interesting.
Actually, yeah, I was gonna say I did notice a bit of American, Greg, in a few of the live shows, even before the I discovered the USA Wiggle Dancing video. Like he did that, I think, a couple of times during the Lights Camera Action tour, and
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
I mean, kind of makes
there was the-
sense because
because
Yeah, because they're trying to reach the American market there. It makes sense. Yeah.
Right, because even though
they're
that
gonna do a whole Australian accent in a US audience, it kind of doesn't make any sense at all.
But
Right, 'cause
realistically, when you listen to the older Wiggles, like particularly from the 90s, it's like you still understand them, right? Like it doesn't really make
Oh,
a
yeah.
big difference. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like it's literally the English language. It's like it's not like they're being like, and she looks like a sugar and a plum, plum. Like they're not putting
goodness.
exaggeration on it. I mean, they could exaggerate. Oh my God, I've always wondered what the Wiggles would sound like if they sounded truly Australian. Like, all right, everyone, time to get your fingers out and do the twist. Can you point your fingers and do the twist?
I mean, the Chaps already did something similar just recently.
Oh yeah, the chats. There's some bands who just.
Okay.
How did you guys feel listening to the Re-Wiggled album? That's just some of the best of.
That was really cool that they did it.
Yeah, because I remember the first Re-Wiggled album from like 2011, I think. It was interesting. It was interesting to see them try to do that again, but this time with the Wiggles themselves actually covering songs from other artists as well. That was cool. Yeah, like Apple Crumble, Pub Feed, of course. They did that a lot at the OG reunion shows.
Yeah, a Thunderstruck. Yeah,
and of course, and then of course Elephant. I mean, the Wiggles cover of Elephant won like a version like that year.
Like number one, like that's
number
like
one.
Yeah, I know, dude. And the fact that they
So
covered,
awesome.
the fact of all the artists they covered, they chose to cover Tame Impala. That's just,
Impala.
dude, it's incredible. They're so big, dude. Or I say they, it's a band name, but it's literally one person.
Well, that was actually, I don't know if you knew this, but I saw some interview where they said that Anthony's daughter, Lucia, of course, is now Wiggle, kind of gave them the idea to cover a Tame Impala song for like a version. Because
I'm glad they picked Elephant. You know, that was a great one.
Yeah. Either way, they still would have won, because they were on their 30th anniversary, and of course, that year was one of their biggest. Like, I'm not having a go at them now, but I think around 2022 was probably the best time of the current era for the Wiggles, because one, they had the change of like they had apart from the Fruit Salad TV Big Show, and of course the reunion.
Was it when the Super Wiggles album came out?
Yeah,
Yes,
it would have been the Super Wiggles.
Okay, yeah, because I remember Tyler said
that was a really good album.
Yeah.
Hearing Jeff come back on the keyboards and Dom Lindsay on the trumpet for that is beautiful.
And Laz Benson, who had only been a drummer for a short time at that point, my goodness, what a total powerhouse on the drums. Just amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely. But see, that's the thing. Like the Wiggles most of the OGs might have left, but they haven't actually left. Like they're always going to be the Wiggles. You know what I mean? Like they're part of the Wiggles or not part of the Wiggles anymore. They are still, in my opinion, from someone in their 20s, the Wiggles. They really are the Wiggles. No disrespect to the new Wiggles, but that's the Wiggles.
And I mean,
they set the foundations.
Like on the Wiggle Talk podcast, like when they had Murray on, Murray talked about how like him and Jeff and everybody, like they still come in every now and again for like meetings and stuff just to see like how the group is running, how it's going. So there's still a little bit of there's still a tiny bit of OG there in that sense. I mean, you know, say whatever we want about the music, but that's for another day. But
Yeah.
And plus, they're still active. Like Greg's still doing stuff. I mean, he literally just made his musical theater debut in Annie, playing the President
when we interviewed him,
Roosevelt
he had just started that.
in a
And
wheelchair.
he's got another musical coming up with one of his daughters. I think her name's Lara, and another friend of mine from acting college. She's actually going to be performing with Greg as well later this year. So
That's cool.
Nice.
That is cool. Yeah, that's just so Greg. Like that's such a Greg thing to do. Like for him to just step into theater. That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's just so cool.
Like, I mean, just from
it's
how
such a
not just talent
transition,
from his voice,
you know?
but just how I mean, not surprised. Like, just imagine like back then we're like, all right, predict one wiggle. Predict one OG wiggle that will probably be most notably probably fit to be in musical theater. I think our answer would probably be Greg anyway.
Yeah, a number of people in the Wiggles had backgrounds in musical theater. Lockie, Simon, Sam, Ryan Saulnier, one of the dancers, had a background in musical. Patty,
Chris Luda.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's how it works. Definitely for the Wiggles. I mean, Paul Paddock's probably one of the best people to have ever worked with the Wiggles.
Oh my gosh, we've been coming since
like all the people other than the Wiggles. Other than the OG Wiggles, he stands alone as like the most talented.
Yeah, and I have had the pleasure of meeting him both in and out of costume at different shows. So yeah, that was a huge deal. I mean, I've met most of the Wiggles either in concert or through the podcast or whatever. The only Wiggle I've yet to meet is Sam, but everyone else I've met, and I've met Paul Paddock, I've met a number of the dancers, and
Anthony. Anthony's
not on the podcast, but I have met him live.
Oh, okay.
I met Simon.
Just have a sign be like, join our podcast, please.
Well, actually, last year I went to see them last year with one of my real life friends, and his mom had gotten meet and greet passes, so we got to meet them. Katarina was not there, but we got to meet the rest of them, and it was on stage.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that was like, what is happening?
I was just saying, you should definitely have a sign that says, Anthony, if you can read this, please join Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. So,
yeah, and that concert,
just groom him into coming up because he's that hard to connect to.
Yeah, and that concert used the same set that was used in the OG reunion tour. So that was kind of cool to technically be in front of that set with like the Wiggle House and the SS Feather Sword, and so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So you guys still hoping that they'll eventually come to the same? I mean, I'm saying this as someone who's seen the OGs up close a couple of times in their reunion shows.
Oh my gosh, I just want to go to Australia. Just it's like
I'm hoping
you can still move down here, man. It's nice weather. Trust me.
I hope they come to the US. Like I'm like, come on, I know how the US is, but no, but
I mean,
brother, we've got Bluey down here, man. You got to check out Bluey.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, I would definitely love to see them come down here too, because I mean, hey, they sold out 12 shows in Madison Square Garden. I think a US visit for the OGs is definitely well deserved.
Absolutely. That makes me think it made me question if that was one of the main reasons why they signed with Universal Music Group. Because I understand, even if they're strict on the music stuff on YouTube, from a business point of view, I can understand if they did that because they want to put themselves back on the global market and tour bigger shows in the States. I mean, they were already in the UK recently.
Yeah, the Wiggles have tried in several different ways to kind of reestablish their fan base over here. I think the issue is, like we were talking about with all the other shows in the kids market that are out there, some good, some not. I just think because of how much there is now, I feel like it's just kind of hard to see something like the Wiggles be big here again, because I mean, in the U.S. we definitely had a lot of big kids music acts for the time. The Imagination Movers are still around, but at the time there were a bunch more.
Yeah.
The Doodle Bops, the Fresh Beat Band.
But also, please don't put the Doodle Bops in the same categories the Wiggles. Or I even said this in the Discord group. I believe High Five is infinitely better than the Doodle Bops. Come after me if you
I
dare,
remember High
or
Five.
something.
Yeah.
High Five would, but I believe too that if they had just let the original members tour overseas and not just take the brand and have an American cast, I truly believe High Five could have been bigger than the Wiggles.
That's the thing, because I did watch High Five, but I didn't grow up with the version that y'all did. Like we had the US version, obviously. It was on Discovery Kids over here.
But also, do you remember the video that the Wiggles enthusiasts uploaded, which like had them perform at Wonderland, and then they asked the audience, "Who do you want? Who do you want them to do?" And they're like, "Teletubby." And then it's like, "We're going to ask the audience now," and they're all like, "High Five!" And that just shows how big they were at the time.
Yeah.
So it's like if they had that opportunity overseas, like the Wiggles did. I really truly believe High Five could have been bigger than the Wiggles if they had the same opportunity. Like they were already so big in Australia. Them winning the ARIA shows how big they were, like 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
And like we listen to their Christmas album every year. Like it's because it's so Australian. Like what's more Australian than Santa wear your shorts tonight? Like Santa wear your shorts because it's Australia, it's summer, you know?
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
It's just those sort of things. But what was I going to say? I'm really interested to, your thoughts on other Australian groups. I know we've spoken about the Hooly Doolies before. And by the way, you guys might have had the honor of being the first to have Philip on the podcast. I'll give you that. But we've got the honor of interviewing Bruce Thornton from the Hooly Doolies.
The Hooly Doolies.
The first ever to have a Hooly Dooly on the podcast.
And that's really cool because the Hooly Doolies have not been together as a group in a number of years. So it's kind of cool that you were the first platform for someone who was in a once popular group that is no longer. But I thought that was really fascinating.
Yeah, I'm happy for you. Yeah, I'm happy for you both that you gotta have that footing to have him on.
Yeah, I was gonna mention, like I remember when we were trying to talk about the Hooly Doolies, in certain areas regarding the Wiggles. I remember there had been some backlash saying, "Oh, the Wiggles are better than the Hooly Doolies and whatnot." But then we came to realize there's
oh no.
We tried to explain, no, they're not the same as the Wiggles. They're like a little bit different. I mean, sure, they have the same colors, but their musical style is much different to the Wiggles.
Much different than the Wiggles.
When you mention the Hooly Doolies and the Wiggles, I'm just thinking of this like one interview. And
no!
What is it?
Oh no!
There's an interview that honestly, probably I think this year might have been 20 years ago. This was just.
No! Is this the one you were talking about? I know which one you're talking about.
I think it was.
The David Tent show.
Yeah.
Murray. That was so bad. They didn't even turn for the finale of that
For those
show.
who don't know, from when I talked about this when I was on Joey's show before, Murray and Anthony in 2006 were interviewed by. Well, how it was executed, because there was a guy there to actually do it, but they were interviewed by this like CGI late night talk show host named David Tench. Now, what I'm about to say is probably one of the main reasons why the David Tench show lasted only about like 20 episodes.
It did not last more than a season.
It did not last, man. They had brought up the Hooly Doolies, and then David Tench just pulls, my kids have a name for the Hooly Doolies. They call them the Loser Wiggles.
Poor Max Wiggles or something.
That's
and Anthony shut it down. I mean, Anthony said that his kids, were fans of Hooly Doolies as well. So, there's no shade in that.
Oh my god! But
Yeah.
honestly, it's just. I was watching the interview again, and there's a clip. There's a clip of it on YouTube, and I'll pretty much explain if no one's seen it. But it's basically he starts the clip off. If Captain Feathersword was fighting in Iraq, would he have like? It's like what? Like, and they're wearing the wiggle shirts too. And it's like it's so awkward.
The second, because when the whole interview used to be on YouTube, it was uploaded in 2 parts. The second part is much worse. It is just the most un-PG Wiggles thing ever.
You got to send that to me.
Wait,
I will,
I'll get, but just seeing their faces like that, it's just it's so awkward.
The very last episode of the show, they had almost every guest who had been interviewed come back, because he had on Troycaster Daily, who was another person who obviously we know worked with the Wiggles. He had him on. So almost every guest he interviewed came back. And who do you want to guess were the 2 guests that did not come back? Murray and Anthony.
Murray and Anthony. Understandably,
I'm sure
the reasons why.
I'm sure Paul, because Paul Field being the manager, who would get these people on these, shows. He was probably like, Murray, Anthony, I'm so sorry. I screwed up. Don't come back. Don't do this. Don't do this again. Like, and
it's so great because it's like if you watch the interview, there's so many faces I've seen the Wiggles make. I've never seen like a face like this from Anthony.
Oh my god! Yes. Oh man!
Oh my god! He was like,
Anthony was just
never
like,
seen him make a face like that.
I bet he was probably looking at Paul. Paul was probably standing off to the side, and he was probably looking at his Paul Field, being like, "What the hell are you doing? What have you done? What have you?"
This is what.
Look at his lips. Looks like a fish. Look at him.
He's just so done. Like,
face that he doesn't. I've never seen him make that face before, so that's how you know how bad it was.
He looks like a puffer fish.
There's one. I can't remember what part it was, but there was one scene when he started to like grit his teeth, where like he wanted to like tell this guy to shut the blank up, but he was because he's a Wiggle, he was trying to hold it in, but he was.
No, and he was like, "Oh God, what was he saying? What's more enjoyable than watching people blow up?" He's like, "A very wiggly jihad,
what?
A very wiggly jihad." It's like,
hey, listen,
so
Murray was kind of playing along with it at first, like, but he eventually was.
Murray had that look too. He kind of looked at Anthony like, "What?" You haven't seen it, guys. If anyone who hasn't seen it, definitely look it up. But I warn you, it is so awkward.
Anthony eventually just kind of like.
What should we look up? What's it called again, Joey?
Just look up David Tench Wiggles. Like it'll just. Yeah, that'll just show how. I mean, that's
I don't even want to rewatch.
It's and like when it got to the end of it, Anthony just kind of stayed silent. But Murray was very outspoken. Murray was like, "You're trying to do these things to all our friends. You want us to put down Wags. You want to freaking fry up and eat Henry the Octopus. Like what?"
Oh my gosh!
I really want to watch the whole thing so bad now.
It's just horrible.
I'll send them to you. It's just so bad. It's so bad. That
would be great.
And I thought the American Rosso show appearance was nuts. That Sano, but David Tench interview, that's.
That you can understand why they didn't come back. I mean, imagine like I think it's just more awkward because they're in their Wiggles attire, like they're playing the characters and they're answering questions. It's like the kids are watching TV and it's like, so would you send Captain Feathersword to Iraq? What? Wait, what is this?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the reason why, like later on, the only like in-person interviews the Wiggles would do, or like the Today Show, which they've always done, like stuff like that. I think that's the reason why eventually they kind of limited it to just
TV shows.
Yeah, like the
and
more
Jake's
like
Happy
the
Nostalgia
show.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But, yeah. But you guys definitely, like, you have the right platform. I think because it's been around for 5 years now, you guys have become a much more trustworthy platform for guests to be like, they know what they're doing. We'll definitely go on their show and talk about our careers. And that's pretty much what we feel as well on our show. We wanted to establish ourselves over time before we started reaching out further and further. And I think it's one of the hardest things too, as a podcaster, because it's like, you want to be able to, you've got to ask the important questions too about the person's life and career, but you don't want to make it sound insulting on their behalf. Like, I've been watching interviews now and then. Like, I saw one of the BGs recently. It was on when they were on some show called Clive Anderson in the UK, and it's like, you never want to ask them questions like, oh, like, we used to be called the Tossers, and they're like, oh, well, you still are the Tossers. And it's like, mate, no, you can't say that. You can't say you still like this sort of group name. Like, you can't insult your guest over and over and over again. Even if it's even in joke form, it's like, you got to kind of take a step back. You know, it's the hardest things, because we can sometimes get carried away. And I think it's one of the things I've learned watching these interviews. It's like, okay, whatever we feel, we got to let it out beforehand before we have them on the show and talk about their life and career and experience. But other than that, it's such an enjoyable thing to do, and to hear just so many great stories. And a lot of them we've never even heard before, in a way, too. So it's really just interesting to hear them for the first time as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of guests along the way. You don't have to say anything to spoil anything, but is there anything that we should be expecting over the next few months or for the rest of the year? Like, who do you have lined up on your show?
I mean, really, just expect for more fun episodes coming, and just keep a lookout for more interviews coming your way. Really, that's what we already said towards the end of our episode. So
a lot of like children's musical artists and more Disney Channel people, voice actors. I will say we have an interview with a children's series creator coming up sometime next month, so that'll be cool when that comes out. But yeah, I mean, just we've taped a whole lot more than what we've put up, so definitely looking forward to putting out some of those interviews that have not had the chance to go up yet, that were taped a while ago. So keep a lookout for those. They'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we definitely talk a lot about the kind of guests we recommend on each other's shows, and there's definitely some who we've helped get on Jake's show and they've helped on ours. But we're really looking forward to hearing them, because obviously just seeing them get the recognition and platform that they so much deserve, it just feels really heartwarming. From me personally, because there's many performers in Australia. Like I've said this before, I feel like there's many performers in Australia that get overlooked or undervalued because of the fact that there's a lot of decisions that are made, particularly by some organizations. I mean, most predominantly the ABC, surprisingly enough. I mean, the one organization that's been the forefront of children's entertainment has also been the same organization who's made some of the worst decisions possible. Like, they almost screwed up the Wiggles when they broke out to television. They were like, no, you can't do this. You can't get rid of the dinosaur. Don't talk to camera, sing. And then they were like, no, we're going to do this ourselves. And they did the same thing with Bluey recently. Like, unfortunately, as Bluey is the biggest show in the world, they're the same organization who messed up the revenue rights, because they co-commissioned the show with the BBC. ABC Australia doesn't make a cent from it now. The ABC doesn't make any money from it. It goes to the BBC. And you think about a number of how it's like, when you think of how big Bluey is and how much it's making per year, it's enough to make you pull your hair out of your head.
Yeah, right.
It's like, from an Australian point of view, but at the same time, I am still nonetheless very proud to be Australian because of that show. Like, I really am. And the Wiggles and Bananas and all those great shows and programs. Same reason you guys would be for like Mr. Rogers. When we start to get to know him more and more, and Sesame Street, pretty much nearly every form of entertainment possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's why, your show works so great in that way, because you guys have such great access to those wonderful performers, and even some who are sadly no longer here, but you've had the opportunity to speak with, like Sid Croft. It's like just stuff like that.
Briefly, in the Brit Allcroft.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and even the Brit. Yeah, oh god, that email from Britt Allcroft. You know what I'm actually really hoping for?
Come on.
I'm hoping the restoration, the one that Joseph Marshall's working on with a bunch of others. I hope they bring back the cut that was under her vision, because apparently they made so many cuts that, like, because the problem is they did it for the wrong audience. They were trying to Americanize it, and it's like it just did not work.
Oh, Thomas and the Magic Railroad.
Yeah, I feel like they tried to make it too American, and it wasn't, because it was a very simple British show, the English show that went popular around the world because it was so simple. But the fact that they oversimplified it, I'm someone who did not watch it very often growing up, so I have very little opinion of it. But I'm interested to see what the original cut looked like the vision that Brit had. So I think by honoring her vision is the most
that'd be interesting.
It will be the most humbling thing anyone could do for her and her legacy. So I'm really hoping Joseph and his team pulls it off very well. Like I really got high hopes that he will.
I'm pretty sure he is going to, because like he's had this envision, of nostalgia for a long time, that he kind of already knows the vision by now, but at the same time, he wants to make sure it's living up to, the late Britt Allcroft's, legacy and expectations, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And also Keith Scott as well as Diesel, because he was the original voice before they replaced him, because he said, quote, kids thought he was scary because of his voice, which I did not understand why. He had a very normal voice for Diesel. I think that's how I kind of pictured him. But
even just scrolling on watching Ruger's puppets, I didn't get scared by it. I didn't think they were creepy. They're creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, not like this voice for Diesel.
Yeah, I never thought of Diesel as that.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Absolutely. Yeah. But man, yeah, we've had a really great chat. I've really enjoyed.
Awesome.
I've really, in the fact that you guys are still doing what you're doing 5 years later, and at the same time you've inspired other people to get into the podcasting business, including myself and Moses. Like we enjoy what we do.
Not just you, but our good friend Alison Clark, starring Nostalgia Pride podcast, and technically from a coast, Matt Bingo for him doing Bingo Smokesport podcast. So I'm glad that there are people out there like you that you want to do this because of how we do. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm quite interested as well. Yeah, I'm also quite interested. We'll ask this before we try and wrap up, but I'm quite interested to hear how much longer do you think you can keep the show going for? Like, you guys have been on for 5 years now, so it's one of those questions like, how much longer do you think it'll go?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, probably would be going for 10 years, and even more beyond than that.
So until every ounce of
more 5 years coming.
So until every ounce of nostalgia is dripped away and put into a platform where we can hear their stories forever, pretty much. Yeah. And there's so much out there.
Nostalgia never ends.
Yeah, it never ends. There's so many people out there who've contributed that we have no idea they even did. So just hearing their side of the stories in all creative outlets is, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Plus, it gives us something to talk about because there's a lot of stuff happening in the world, and I don't like talking about all the crazy stuff, and I like talking about nostalgia to get away from it.
Right. Stuff that takes you back to a simpler time.
Simpler time. You know what? That's it. Simpler times. That's what we need. Just simpler times.
Yeah.
And I think we need a simpler ending too. But anyway, it was so wonderful. I've really enjoyed spending the last 2 hours collaborating and chatting with, for the first and hopefully not only time, with Jake and Chris, the host and co-host of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. It was such an honor, guys, and a privilege to have you guys collaborating with us for this very exclusive chat to break down entertainment, really. Your history and just entertainment and the guests we've both had on in the show. And I'm hoping in the future, I'm going to say it exclusively, I really hope you guys consider getting Bruce on your podcast. I'm going to say it as a
You got to, yeah.
as a host to another co-host.
No.
Just sincerely, you got to get a hooly dooly on your podcast.
Yes.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
It would be incredible.
Chef Peepee, what?
So,
Listen, you-
where did you come from?
This isn't your show, Chef Pee. What are you doing here? I don't know. Well, time for you to go back to bed. Okay.
Yeah. I have a puppet version of me.
And Bean, and all those other
Yeah.
great puppets.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's
Yeah,
gonna go get Bean.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh, it's not.
Where is he?
It's a puppeteer you do, but.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, you're still.
I mean, I guess we could just end off from that, but.
Oh, he's gonna get Bean.
I mean, I guess I could. Oh gosh, even though it's not a puppeteer, it's not like a puppeteer interview, but.
Is this
I
thing on?
guess,
Is this thing on?
But all right, Bean just looks just.
So we've got a
Right
puppet
now, but-
version of Jake.
But yeah, thank you for thank you for having both of us on. It's a lot of fun, and looking forward to come back more to talk about other things, more other guests, and a little bit of talk about with this monster and everything else. So yeah. Okay.
Just a thrill, man. But thank you so much, Jake, and again, also thank you so much, Chris, too. I mean, you guys. I mean, obviously, even though the show is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the fact that your contributions are almost just as important. It's so great to talk about it with you as well.
Yeah.
As always, and likewise.
Off here.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, Bane, you're adorable, man.
But thank you.
But anyway, I'll do the sign off while I'm at it. But thank you to all of our viewers for watching this exclusive chat that we've had with the Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show team. We hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. They're making new episodes every week. You can do it your way if you want.
Yes.
So you guys do a new episode every week, every Saturday night.
Yep. Sometimes Wednesdays as well, but yeah, mostly Saturdays. Yep. Always putting out new and fun content.
Perfect.
Wow.
Don't forget to watch them every Saturday. They do a new episode every week, and they have so many great guests along the way. And also, don't forget to subscribe to Joey's Nostalgia Experience. We do a new episode every Sunday as well. And don't forget to hit the notification button so you can stay up to date with brand new episodes and so you don't miss a single one. And also, you can follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio and Amazon Music and just a bunch of other streaming services that we could possibly imagine. So pretty much the same with Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show and Joey's Nostalgia Show. You can follow both shows. They're both incredible to watch every single week. And we'll let you, Jake, or Chris, do the honors of signing off our show any way you like.
Yes. I'm not Jake. You're Jake. I mean, Chris, you can do what you already say, and then I'll do the usual sign off.
Okay. Gosh.
Oh, good.
Well, to fans of both Joey's Nostalgia Experience and for fans of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, keep up, keep tuning in for more wonderful interviews coming your way from both podcasts. And as always, Jake, what do we say at the end of our podcast?
Yes, exactly. That kind of makes sense from both our shows. I talked about one certain word and to from that already signed off, but which I'll say to as So now, keep nostalgia alive. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Take care.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everybody.
And keep
Bye-bye.
nostalgia alive. Exactly.
Yes.
Farewell.
See ya.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.